Previously, in my overworked brain, we comprehend subjective reality by representing it with concepts in our brains. How subjective our perception of reality is, the surface level definition of a concept is sometimes only an oversimplification of its true meaning. Society, the concept humans created when we realize we don't have to fight fairly one-on-one. Society refers to a group of people with shared cultures, values, and institutions. Other concepts like laws, customs, and taboos are created to keep society running. Hey kid, you can't say you wanna marry your sister. Got it? Can I go home now? Nah, just to be safe. Society doesn't have a brain, so societal concepts refer to concepts that exist in the majority's mind. Being born in a society, we treat the concepts of our society as absolutes and take them for granted. An example is to treat laws and ethics as the same thing when they are two separate concepts. Laws prevent society from collapsing, while ethics mainly reduce the pain of humankind and beyond. Laws are specific to our society, so it is designed to benefit that society. Both laws and ethics would generally denounce murder, but laws will not hesitate to mistreat minorities and exploit other societies for benefits. Those in power will also warp laws to benefit themselves. After I take over the world in 2034, I'm gonna make PDAs illegal. The concept of justice has variations across different societies. The Cambridge Dictionary defines it mainly as fairness, but when I hear about justice, it's usually about the compensation for a violation of a law or societal value. The word justice arouses emotions, so it tends to be overused, often by people who don't compensate for anything with their actions but yell about justice. Yeah, I could make a small penis joke here, but then someone is gonna yell about #justice for small PP. Society doesn't assign people with equal value and status, but it also promotes equality as a virtue. Consistency is for losers anyway. All we need are A-list actors and more CGI. Seriously, there are reasons for these two sides of society. We can't control everything no matter how much effort we put in. Factors like discrimination, family poverty, disability, and illness dominate people's lives. Some are born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and others with only a silver spoon. Equality means giving everyone an equal amount of resources and equal chances. This concept doesn't solve the problem of uncontrollable factors, as it keeps the status quo by giving everyone the same things. Equity means creating a state where everyone can have the same resources and chances. This concept can close the gap of inequality by urging society to help people affected by uncontrollable factors. We don't want absolute equity to happen, as it would mean turning everyone into the same person. That image alone made me regret overthinking things this much. Absolute equity also means rewards cannot exist, as rewards would lead to inequality. Without rewards, everyone would have less motivation to work, causing the already limited resources to become more limited. Well, I'm already procrastinating, but still. Nature has survival of the fittest, and society plagiarized it into social Darwinism. The competition in social Darwinism aligns individual motivation with the benefit of society. Usually, people are encouraged to manage controllable factors through self-improvement and hard work. Or, as the kids like to say, the Sigma grind set. Social Darwinism is necessary as long as resources are limited. But the problem is obsessing over it and linking your self-esteem to it. Ideally, equity and competition should strike a balance. But the unhealthy obsession over winning and being the best is common, more so in some societies. Buying into this obsession could mean constant stress and anxiety, and uncontrollable factors can still prevent you from succeeding, ending in depression and self-esteem issues. But our primal instincts push us to chase success, so sign me up. It's not like I have any mental health to sacrifice in the first place. Teenagers are frequent victims of the obsession over winning due to their developing self-esteem, and school is a place that generally promotes competition in the form of grades. This crossover results in winners and losers of school Darwinism turning to bullying to reinforce or compensate for their positions respectively. Or they might announce school is for losers and become influencers. Yuck! No one can be the best at everything, and everyone is bad at something. Except me. I'm good at everything. That doesn't involve social interaction. Society can advance further when everyone utilizes their strengths and covers for each other's weaknesses. Diversity in perspective and ability should be celebrated, but this is not the case. You can't even be good at assassination without ending up on a most wanted list. It's only slightly better than being good at anything arts related. Normal is a concept describing what the majority of society is like and would do. Our perception of normal is defined by our impression of the majority, which explains why people declare that they have an unpopular opinion before giving the most common take possible. Humans survive best in groups, so we have a basic desire to fit in. Even kids know normal good, abnormal bad. That's why they laugh at clowns. Sorry, I mean run away in fear. For society to maintain its shape, people have to follow the rules and expectations of society. But if everyone thinks in the exact same way, no one will find the solution to society's problems. Even after the current problems are solved, new ones appear, like a hydra or a cake streamer, so more solutions are needed. Groupthink was necessary for survival in harsh environments in the past, as we can't exactly argue whether Jujutsu Kaisen is made while being chased by a bear. But now society is more stable for diversity in individual thinking. This is where the paradox of human nature comes in. We want to fit in, but also want to find and maintain our individual identity. Rebelling against the current norm of society, usually by the younger generation, is the key to creating a new norm and finding novel solutions. Now, tell your grandparents that all this talk about skibbity risk gats is for a better future. But not all rebellions lead to a solution. And how do we define a better future anyway? All we can do is let different ideas clash until some prevail. Ideas can combine and improve through contact with other ideas, or worsen in an echo chamber. Bad ideas won't collapse society as long as we examine them critically and don't conform mindlessly. Remember the analogy of if you give a monkey a phone, it will eventually type a Shakespeare. Create a viral TikTok. It takes just one idea among all the various unique ideas to change society for the better. Most likely, we will reject every change, so it's up to the next generation with their fresh perspectives to find the great ideas and hopefully reject the horrible ones, like those gender reveal parties. Many key concepts in society persisted over time, but their schemata, which include societal values, systems, and rules, had changed drastically. The concept of a government has existed for thousands of years, but now most leaders no longer pass their seats to their sons. Also, they don't engage in polygamy and incest anymore, at least not openly. You never know what politicians do on some island. For a better society, we have to promote individuality and the collective at the same time. The concept of self may just be the most important concept to us. The self consists of our body, memories, identities, behaviors, emotions, and thoughts. Yes, including those embarrassing cringe memories that you want to destroy. We clump all those subjective components together to create the concept of self. Like how we define a collection of servers as the internet and the hive mind on it as the internet. The self changes every moment, so we are technically different from our past selves. A life hack would be committing a crime and telling the cops that your past self did it, not you. But surprisingly, that doesn't work. A society still recognizes you across time as one person, and it expects your past self to treat your future self as the same person too. Does that sound more confusing than the FNAF timeline? The point is we agree to treat the different selves through time as the same person, as that's how we experience time and the sense of self anyway. Every aspect of the self is shaped by genetics and past experiences. The world works in cause and effect, where the self is the outcome of near infinite causes. At the same time, we are the ones who consciously make our decisions. We participate in the wheel of cause and effect. Free will both exists and doesn't exist, like that singular sock I never seem to find. The paradox comes from the assumption that the self is separate from the universe. But we are part of the universe, so the universe and we are both involved in our decisions. Like how the water molecules and the ocean are responsible for drowning me, so I'll sue them both. Still, free will and freedom are useful concepts. The concept of free will contributes to the cause and effect because someone who believes in free will would be more active than someone who doesn't. Those who are active are in turn more likely to reach a result they desire. That's why we have to assume we have free will, like how Gooners assume their favorite Twitch streamer is single. The concept of freedom is similar in that absolute freedom is impossible. We can't be free from our limitations, needs, ourselves, and the laws of the universe, but we can still feel free. We can still promote diversity in thinking and stop trying to control others. That is what freedom is really about. We should at least grasp this little freedom because our limitations already restrict it. I talked about controllable and uncontrollable factors, but in reality everything has different degrees of controllability. Not a clear-cut divide between controllable and uncontrollable. We have the most control over ourselves and our actions, as we can't change the outer environment at will, despite what TikTok wants you to think. Even then, we constantly lie to ourselves to protect our self-esteem and core beliefs, or to run away from ideas too scary to accept. Remember when you resolved to cut down on sugar and still stuffed yourself with ice cream later that night? We are the puppets of our emotions, assumptions, biases, and other self-deceptions. Luckily, we can learn to deal with them, strengthening ourselves with skills like emotional regulation, mindful awareness, and critical thinking, or just give up and post another brain-dead Twitter take. Like free will, believing in our ability to control ourselves helps us get closer to what we want, as our actions contribute to the causes and move the outcome. If the world truly follows the rules of cause and effect, there can only be one possible outcome. We can't see all the hidden causes, so we use the concept of probability to help us guess the outcome, and use the concept of random to represent factors we aren't aware of. Even with our best guesses and best efforts, external factors can still push us away from the outcome we want. Some people will do nothing and blame the outcome on only external factors, or to protect their self-esteem or justify the lack of effort. I swear it's not my fault that my car crashed, it's the road's fault for having turns. We have to do our best and accept whatever outcome we get. Our abilities are limited, but we can still make the most of them by believing in ourselves. This is not just a message from a cliché kids show, but about self-fulfilling prophecies. If we believe in a self-image or identity, our actions and thoughts will lead us to fit that mold. Stereotype threat describes a situation where a person is aware of a stereotype towards their group. And no matter how untrue that stereotype is, the person would act out the stereotype. The positive version of stereotype threats is believing in our best selves to get closer to perfection. Besides defining perfection as an impossible ideal, we also label something to be perfect where we can't think of any flaws or if it fits our expectations. In all of these cases, the concept of perfection acts as a guidepost for us to move towards. Unless you are me, who uses the word perfect sarcastically because sarcasm is truly peak comedy that is not at all low efforts. Other ideals and fantasies serve the same purpose of helping us envision a better tomorrow. At the same time, we should understand that ideals are often close to impossible to achieve. World peace is impossible as long as humans are selfish and resources are limited. But the ideal of world peace can lead us to choose a peaceful method whenever possible. It's not naive to have ideals, but it is naive to think those ideals can be easily achieved. Like saying the energy crisis can be solved by producing energy with hamsters on wheels. And that's all for the balance of opposites in the world. See you in the final part.